Hi everyone, it's June 2nd, 2015. I am Colin Horgan, and I am playing Mega Man Legends for what I guess I'm now calling SDX Crits, my own personal design, note-taking audio log that people actually listen to. Wow. Thanks for listening, those people who listened. I hope you enjoyed it. I guess I'll continue to do this because I'm too lazy to take written notes, but I do want to get down notes on games I like as partially a learning exercise for me, but also to share my thoughts on video games in some form, because I heard that some people like to listen to it. Anyways, so last time played through the tutorial and intro of the game, skipped through the big cutscene that happened after the tutorial. Basically, Mega Man Roll are flying away from the big boss guy that we fought, and ship crashes for some reason. I forgot why. And we are stranded on a new island. So when I press continue, Roll tells me good luck. It's almost kind of ominous, but that's okay. I know we'll be okay. Thanks for giving us luck, Roll. Okay, so I gotta make sure I'm opening up the correct save file, not my complete one. So we're loading up into Cardon Forest. Okay, so the game is loading, and we are placed right outside of our crash ship. We're in the midst of a forest of totally identical trees. The nice early 3D console era tree thing where it was just flat 2D textures of trees kind of put in a little cross section to make it appear 3D. It has a charm of its own, I think. Also got some short grass textures that are popping out of the ground to give the illusion of depth of grass, and also some of the really loud bird ambient sound effect that is kind of playing. I don't know, it's almost kind of nice. Anyways, we've got our three companion characters standing outside the ship, kind of idly walking around, like any good set of RPG NPCs. We've got Roll, who we saw for the first time in the cutscene, the person who was talking to us throughout all the dungeons, kind of our second in command, wearing her bright orange-red mechanic outfit with some great shoes, actually. Those are kind of cool looking. They're kind of like futuristic Converse looking things, but they're almost boot-like. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to talk to her and see what she says. I hope we'll be able to find some parts to fix her here, her referring to our ship. Great stuff. We've also got who Roll refers to as Gramps. I think his name is technically Barrel. Barrel Roll, haha. Who is actually Roll's grandfather, I'm pretty sure. He's got like half a robot face and like robot ears. It's kind of cool. Anyways, he's got this big beard too, and he says there must be a town somewhere on an island this big. Think you go take a look around, Mega Man, and thus we get our first RPG quest of the game. We've also got my favorite character in the game, I think, which is Data, our little Robo Monkey companion who was found alongside Mega Man by Roll and her grandfather. I think that's their backstory. Cute little robot guy who just dances all the time, just like his idle animation. I think it's the only animation you ever see him in besides at one point towards the end of the game. Just straight up doing cute little dance ad infinitum. It's pretty great. Forget you're the only one who can understand what I say. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I forgot that little detail. Mega Man's the only one who talks to Data. Anyways, so Data is our little monkey robot pal who lets us recharge our energy and act as a save point, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to just save again, just because I'm paranoid like that, and I normally save whenever I can, even if I didn't actually do anything besides talking to people. Another thing that Data does is he, or she, I guess, I think it's she, has a tell me option, which depending on where you are in the game, allows data to tell you different things, or you can ask about different things about the game. Towards the beginning of the game, it's very tutorial-ish, and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, or I can ask data basically like, tell me where I'm supposed to go right now, even though I kind of know, and I can ask about buster parts and saving. I'm gonna skip all that, but towards the end of the game, it gets kind of interesting, almost like making a weird connection here, but like the loading screen tips and Spec Ops: The Line, where they became more jarring and like story focused, almost metatextual as you got towards the end of the game, and your character's mind was kind of deteriorating. Sorry, spoilers, I guess, for Spec Ops: The Line, but I don't know who hasn't heard or been spoiled about that. He's in a similar way, like the data begins to divulge a bit more information about like the mysteries and stuff behind the game, and then just some really weird philosophical stuff. Anyone who's seen my Facebook cover photo know about as you get towards the end of the game. But anyways, as you walk up, you get a lovely little cardboard sign with a spray painted, I guess very obviously localized, to town written on it with a big obnoxious arrow. I wonder if I can examine it. It still says, and Mega Man thinks to himself, I knew there would be a city here. Great writing on this game, of course. So as we move forward, Mega Man pauses the game, and oh my gosh, police officers come by. So I guess we're not going for the town yet. Mega Man just turns, does the anime ellipses, goes, what's going on? And then we get the detective character, who looks like the most stereotypical cartoon, gumshoe, like got the like beige jacket and fedora, a huge mustache that covers his mouth, and he's just like, oh, I saw someone crashed here. There's a single the stoic looking police officer that comes with him, and it's just like, I'm glad to see you're all right, which is kind of funny because he looks like super serious. I actually, the first time I played this game, or the first time I remember playing this game, I thought that police officer was going to be a bad guy just because he looks so intimidating. That didn't really turn out to be a thing. I wonder if I examine the car if it does anything. No, but Mega Man can kind of clip through it. Early 3D, it's fun stuff. Anyway, so I want to talk with the rest of the gang and see what they have to say. I think they just kind of tell you though, like, oh, like you should go to town. Still, it's kind of weird actually. Oh, we got Gramps talking to us. His very grandpa voice.
Well, you certainly put on quite a show.
I'm not sure if you're able to hear that, but the inspector has like the most obnoxious Brooklyn accent I've heard in a while, since, I don't know, Joey Wheeler and Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. And he brings Gramps away, and that kind of leads you to some plot progression later on, giving you need to find Gramps because some danger will be happening. Oh no. The inspector saying, don't worry, it won't take long, but it definitely will. And then he says, you should spend some time in our shop next to the city. I guess they talk about like immigration and IDs and stuff like that. It's kind of weird, but then we get our IDs rather quickly. I always thought it was like kind of a weirdly political thing to bring into this world, especially like such a post-apocalyptic world. Like, who would care about ID badges and being able to be in a city or something? Excuse me. But whatever. So we're kind of thrown into the first real part of the game. Got this single winding path that leads from the area after the to town sign to the town, but then it's kind of cool actually the way it's framed here. As we like come up to the city, there's just a single destroyed ruined wall with kind of these textures similar to the stuff we saw in the dungeons. Like something that looks totally massive and along the like lines of the city wall beyond it. But in Decay, it almost makes you think like, oh, was there an attack or something? Because it looked like just a giant hole was blown in it. Also some nice like earth tones, like this like clay red and the brown. The colors in this game just in general are so nice when you're in the outdoor areas. I mean, it's all like just super primary basic, like the ground and the trees are just all green, super green, different shades of vibrant greens. And then the top we've got this like super puffy white and like light blue clouds against it, like just darker blue. Very nice. This like looks like a place you would want to hang out in, like a nice like resort beach town. I love freaking beaches in video games. I mean, I like beaches in general, but there should be more beaches I can hang out in video games. So other things of note that as the game like naturally frames the entrance to the town when you first see it is there's a decrepit and decayed looking I guess it looks like a van on the left side of the screen, and it's like rusted and brown, but like a darker brown than kind of the walls and stuff. So it stands out against all this like more vibrancy. It seems like something that would be kind of important later on. I'm not sure if I'm saying. I don't think I'm just saying that because I know that it does become important. And then we got a single NPC looking into this weird like hut-looking thing that has more of these textures and stuff that kind of indicate like, oh, this probably has something to do with ancient civilizations and stuff. There's probably an entrance to like one of these dungeons that we're talking about. So I go up and I talk to him, and he says, I want to go down inside the ruins to look for some parts and other stuff, but I'm afraid of Reaverbots and whatever else might be down there. So this guy, he talks about how he's like, but he needs to find stuff to sell in the shop. This will probably be a guy that we have to deal with later. Also, some nice little moss-like decals on the bottom of the walls of this little hut that house the entrance to this dungeon. It's a nice little touch. They're repeated on every side, but you know what? Like I could forgive it. Also, I just noticed that it's all actually made out of like rectangular shapes, which is pretty cool because it does look more or not as blocky as the rest of the 3D objects in this game. It looks more rounded, like kind of a hut thing. So good on them for working with that. Also, the more discerning eye will notice on the left as we go up, we see some little yellow Lego guys. I think are referred to as the serve bots, as people might have seen. Capcom kind of uses them as a little mascot. I think they first showed up in this game. They're kind of more reminiscent of the early Mega Man enemies with these like like I said, like looking like little Lego guys, these kind of cutesy little robots. They say we're waiting for Miss Tron, and they got this like floaty, like scary looking, I guess pirate ship next to them. Ooh, probably more foreshadowing. I actually kind of like how just there's this out of the way foreshadowing of like trouble to come. That's something that this game does really well throughout the entire game, even as the stakes kind of escalate. There's always a sense that there's something bigger going on, and it's just done through like small little details and the town design, the level design, the atmosphere, the NPC dialogues. It's really great sense of place and personality in the NPC dialogues in this, and I think it's one of the better RPG towns. And there is only one town in this game, but I think it can be so strong because of that. They were able to just focus on developing and working on this one place. I would like to see more games kind of play with that. Having a single space that evolves through time. There's another officer there. Is this your ship? Shouldn't be parked here. This is a no parking zone, referring to the. Also, just notice that the pirate ship is like mostly like pink and gray. It's a really weird but great color combination. Also, like kind of reminiscent of Evangelion. Kind of looks like Eva Unit 1 if it lost some of its saturation. Big red shiny button on the side. It's not just a texture. It's actually 3D. But anyways. So moving along, I'm going to talk. There's a police officer next to the entrance of the market, the first part of the town that we get to enter. All the doors in this town have a nice little cardinal direction on the top, which tells you like which part of the town you're actually going into. So like this one, like I'm heading north, so it has a big N on top. It's kind of cheesy, but it actually like does. It's an easy way to help the player like keep track of where they are and kind of landmarking without having to use a mini map or whatever, which is definitely always a good thing in my book. Officer, just please go on in. You'll need a citizen's card if you want to go through the other gates, though. It's weird that they keep bringing on this card thing, because I don't think it even pays off later on. I mean, like, you get your card because you do something to help the town, and they're like, oh yeah, we definitely need Mega Man in here. Anyways, I just totally spoiled that moment. Getting into the town for the first time, and we're greeted with an one of my favorite town themes in RPG ever, I think, if I can call this game an RPG. And we're in the Apple Market, the freaking Apple Market theme. I love it. I think what I'll do is kind of fade my voice out here and kind of let that theme play for a bit, edit it into the cast, so you guys can listen to it anyways. Yeah, so coming back, I'm walking around this market. I think it's good to start with talking about the music, because this is actually the first music we hear since the end of that cutscene. This game does use silence rather well. I think it was always kind of like a limitation. The soundtrack of this game is not that long. It doesn't have that many tracks, and most of the tracks are rather short. In lieu of having like background tracks for every single area, the game just has a few specific themes that show up in a few specific places, but when you're like traveling and exploring, most of the time it's just silence and ambient sound, which does two things. One, it kind of emphasizes the emptiness of this world. Emptiness in a good way. I mean, it's not actually like empty, but like bad stuff has happened, and I think we could tell it's in a state of recovery, I guess. Until all this disaster stuff will happen later on. But it's a lonely place for a roving band of treasure hunters like us. And also, it emphasizes, these important, or we can use the moment, the music to emphasize these, more important moments, like the entering the first town. And there's so much, I mean, relative to the time, I still think it's effective. There's so much life and energy, like, immediately, not just with the music, but there's so many people in here. I mean, by so many, there's like 8, and it's a rather small area, just a single like linear strip of shops on both sides of the character. But it's so festive looking, and the colors, again, there's just so much color. There's pinks and greens and blues and different greens and yellows and a beige. They went all out, I think, with kind of catching your eye with this, which is great. And you got like every single model of NPC that you'll find in the game in here, and they all have their own character. As I talked about, like a sense of time and place. The NPCs are persistent. I mean, they don't say the same thing throughout the game. They evolve, but they're always the same character. Like, you have this girl who has a dog, who the dog's name is Paprika, and like, I'll see them in different parts of the town as I progress through the game and the story, but I can kind of follow their own mini arc. And again, it's these little details that just are totally unnecessary. I didn't even have to ever talk to this person, but you know what? It adds life and energy to this game. It's like what I was saying the last time, just so much craft and love. It's the tiny details that go the farthest, and I think that's kind of cliche, but it's because it's true. So anyways, I think I'll go around and kind of talk to all these NPCs. We got this like cast of like what it looks like the teenage hoodlum kids. You got a kid with the bandana, big bulky guy, yellow shirt. He talked to him. He says his name is Jim. He says, "You're looking for the treasure too, aren't you? Oh, hey, just like that girl who was here a minute ago. Wow, they're probably referring to someone that we're about to meet. No, who knows?" I know it's kind of like almost ham-fisted foreshadowing, but because it's all stuff you can skip over even. It's kind of cool. You got this shrimpy little kid that Jim is like talking at. One thing about all the NPCs in this game is they have like one idle animation that when they're not walking will generally play, or like when you're talking to them. Most of them is just like they're like really simple like 3D animations, just like guys fists moving. Actually, all these kid punks have the same one, except for the tiniest little kid who has like a bowl cut with the hair over his eyes. You know, it's kind of cute and dorky. And I'm talking about the kid with the bandana, the red bandana. His name was Osh, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, you don't look like you're from around here either. Go away. Wow, no one likes me here yet. A funny little thing about this market, and I don't think I would ever know this unless I played this with I had a friend who was also into this game when we played it back when we were like 7 years old or something. There's a can that you can kick around, and you're probably hearing the like rather loud tinny sound effect that plays. But you can kick it because you have a kick. Action available, when you're in a town setting. It replaces all your offensive actions like shooting and using your special weapon with the kick thing, and you can kick it into behind the counter of one of the shops called the Jet Lag Bakery, and it gives you 1,000 money. And then a little text box pops up. It says, "Keep our streets clean. Put trash in its proper place." I'm assuming that the proper place isn't just behind this poor lady's bakery, but whatever works. As I pointed out, the name Jet Lag Bakery, all of the shops in this area just have the best names. There's this like women's fashion boutique called Dressmaker Hipbone. There's the bakery Shark Skin, which is right across from the Jet Lag Bakery. You think that'd be an unfortunate place to have your competition, but that's okay. You've got a Bronte vegetable store. I wonder if that's a specific reference to the Bronte sisters, English writers from the 18th century, I think, or 19th century, sorry. There's Taylor Chino's, the men's fashion boutique, and you got some super flat 2D textures to represent like the windows, and you've got window shopping in this game. Like, how many games have window shopping? That's so cool. Got Books Folio, a little bookstore that doesn't even have a shopkeeper right now, but later on we'll find her, and she's like this old grandma that kind of like sleeps. It's pretty cute. I mean, if you look in the bookshelves, throughout different points in the game, maybe I will point out a different type of book on the shelf. So right now he says there's a lot of novels on the shelf, but none that look interesting. It's unfortunate. There's no interesting books in this place, apparently. The bookshelf right next to it, by the way, says there's a lot of dirty magazines in them. It might be fun to look at them, Mega Man thinks. But and it's actually spelled like that, like B dash. But there's so many people around, you'd get in trouble if someone saw you. I think also, I might have been making this up, but when the owner's there and you check that out, she might like tisk you, which is kind of funny. So novels, comics, and dirty magazines. It seems like Mega Man's most interested in reading the comics, but they're sealed in vinyl bags, so people can't read them without buying them. Very disappointed. Although we did just get 1,000 money from or Zenny, sorry. I do like how the money's called Zenny. That's such a great name. And that's consistent throughout the Mega Man lore, I'm pretty sure. I wonder if this game is in continuity with the other games. I think it's supposed to be like very, very, very long after the original games, at least, but I have no idea how it fits into like X or even Battle Network. I think Battle Network is also supposed to be in the continuity, but like before the original Mega Man games, especially because the main character's last name is Light. But whatever, there's a Wily in this game, which is kind of cool. He is a rather major character, not a bad guy though, which is funny. So I'm gonna also check. There's like boxes where you can like check stuff, or like you can scrounge around for things in like trash cans and boxes. There's something important that I need to find in here, so I'm just gonna check all the boxes. I'm just gonna do this anyway, because something cool is like I talked about before. Like this is kind of a loot game where you do find a lot of items and stuff. But yeah, like so I just found a broken cleaner in a box, and that's actually an item that we need to use to create one of the secondary weapons that you can get later. I think it's the first one that you can get. But anyways, I'll talk about that once that's complete. So I'm finding some money in a trash can. Another cool little detail is you can kick trash cans. Makes a nice little sound. There's a little hit effect. You get hit back. All this good like kinesthetic feedback stuff. No screen shake, but that would almost be like too much, I think, at this point. I don't think there's any screen shake in this game, as far as I know, outside of cutscenes. But whatever, it works. Sorry, thinking for a sec. Yeah, so kicking trash cans. If you kick a trash can and the lid flies off, it's empty. But if you kick it and it kind of like shakes without the lid flying off, there's something inside, which is a nice little way to, check and see if there's something in a trash can without having to go through the little dialogue boxes, which is also not that intrusive. There's like 3 dialogue boxes if there's something inside something, and just 1 if there isn't, which is nice. The game doesn't waste your time like that. Oh, excuse me. Little yawn. I'm recording this a bit later than I probably should, but just checking these boxes, and it's empty. You can't kick boxes to see if they're empty. Anyways, I think I'm gonna chat with some of these guys. Though I'm not sure how interesting it'll be. Everyone kind of knows, like, oh, there's a ship that just crash landed. We kind of have these like 2 stories that are going on. People are concerned about the ship that just crash landed, and this mysterious girl is looking for a treasure. We can also talk to the girl with the dog Paprika, and she just says, "Oh, this is my dog Paprika? Isn't he cute?" We're gonna talk to Paprika. I don't know. I don't think Paprika will say anything. Yeah, it just goes grrr, woof, woof. I like how this specific episode is just turning into me doing story time, reading out all the different characters and stuff that we find. Cool little tiny detail is I can go into the high-necked record shop. As far as I know, there's only like 1 specific side quest thing, or just as far as like reaching completion of the game, you only have to go in here once, and it's just to like ask some guy if he saw a person. But you can check out, there's like there's a poster for a fake band, and it's just now on a hit sale. It doesn't say the artist or whatever, but they look like a J-pop duo or whatever. And we got like bestsellers, just all these colorful CD covers and record albums. I can talk to the girls, and I wanted to get a CD, but I didn't have enough money, so I'm just gonna listen to the samples, which is kind of cool because you're like, oh, what samples? And you go and you check out the rack of CDs right next to you, and the text box comes up. There's a heavy metal CD in the player. Listen or leave. So I'm gonna press listen, and oh my gosh, an old Mega Man theme starts playing. At least I think it's a old Mega Man theme. Yeah, just like MIDI, like heavy guitar and stuff. And the text box comes up, sample CD currently playing. Press any button to stop. You could straight up just chill here and listen to music. Totally tangential. You never have to do this, but just again another cool little world detail that totally didn't need to be here. I mean, it probably took not long, but like maybe like 2 days worth of work to like implement this and have the art and test it and make sure it worked. But it's a nice little detail for the people who check, and like every single shelf has a different genre that you can listen to, or yeah, like this side is like heavy metal, but I can go and there's a jazz CD on this player and I can listen to it, and I'm not sure how jazzy it really is, but there is something that plays, and that's kind of cool. Okay, it's kind of jazzy. I don't actually know where this music comes from, but I'd be curious to see if it's. I gotta imagine it's some kind of reference to another Capcom game or another Mega Man game. It'd be cool to know. Oh, sorry, I keep freaking yawning. It's not because I'm uninterested. It's just a long day. Listen to some classical music. Got some MIDI piano, very, very, very MIDI piano. And talk to this punk kid who's at a listening station. Which is funny because you don't actually need to go to the listening stations to actually listen to any of this stuff. Be sure to listen to our sample CDs before. Okay, now the game's kind of hammering in that I should talk to these guys. Another nice little detail: there's those scanners that they have at the entrances of stores to make sure you don't steal stuff, and that's in here. But there's no door texture, which is kind of funny. You just have to go up and to the wall and press the examine button to get out. Before I move on, I do remember there being one NPC that I thought was rather funny in the Hip Bone, women's boutique, so I'm going to go in. And this character is also relevant to a side quest, but you can go up and, you talk to the girl at the counter. The camera pans in, which is kind of interesting. The camera only really pans into NPCs when there's supposed to be someone that's a bit more important. Like, as far as the NPCs in the main Apple market, I think it only zooms into the bully-looking kid Jim, although I might be making that up just because I know that they become important later, and the paprika owner girl, who I don't think actually has a name, which is kind of unfortunate. But so the girl at the counter at this one's boutique says, "Hey, you're kind of cute. Your name's Mega Man, isn't it?" Which is weird. It's like, we haven't told anyone our name is Mega Man, but I think we're like, the whole idea is like we're supposed to have been on TV because of the crash. You're my type of man. I don't know if you like looking at women's clothes, but come back and see me anytime. Very direct, very forward. I kind of like that little bit of character personality. There's also a girl who's looking at a dress, and she asks, I really like this dress. Do you think it will look good on me?" And this kind of introduces the first like bit of like character dialogue choices that you can make. Often they have like no effect on like the game mechanically or story wise or whatever, but this one's, you know, just a simple yes no. I'm gonna say yes because I'm gonna be nice, but the thing is, there's always an asshole option. Sorry the language, but whenever you get these dialogues, and sometimes they get pretty funny later on. So yeah, I'm sure if I said no, she would say something bad, but you know, because I say yes. Really, will you buy it for me then? Oh man, I'm gonna say no to this one though, because I mean, I don't know you. I'm not gonna buy you a dress, but I don't know. Oh, don't worry, I was just kidding. Okay, cool. Mega Man's charming enough that worked and didn't come off as like being a jerk. Another thing you could do is check the mirror. And there's a mirror in the boutique, you know, like anything else. Some handbags and other stuff too. But and Sexbox says you can see yourself in the mirror. Maybe not as handsome as some, but it's a good-looking face. You feel a little more confident after looking at yourself. I'm not sure if it actually affects any stats or not, but if I remember correctly, so there's kind of like a moral system in this game, like a mostly invisible one. Certain things that you do and like answers that you give to like people's questions and stuff can either add or subtract morality from you. And there's certain actions you can do that like take away. Nothing happens in the game depending on your morality, except like some characters talk to you differently. But Mega Man's armor gets darker, like the more quote unquote evil he acts in the game. So different things that you can do to like add to your evil is like keep doing the kick the can thing. Behind the bakery, or in the Japanese version of the game, you were able to like kick animals, like, you know, the dog and stuff, which is so unfortunate. It's kind of funny though, because you'll find some posters around the town that have like pictures of the different animals that you see in the game. You know, there's like some cats and birds and dogs, and it will say, "Don't kick us." Which is pretty dark, but at the same time kind of funny. So if I remember correctly, if you have like a super high evil rating, Mega Man's armor gets darker, and if you check yourself in the mirror, he'll actually say like, "Wow, looking good," or something like that. So apparently more confidence if you are evil. I guess it just has something to say. So if I try to go into the town, it says there's a sign that you need to insert your citizen's card, and we don't have one, so we can't go there yet, which is a nice way to prevent the player from moving ahead. So, you know, we talked to that guy who's like, "Oh, I have the shop," so I guess that might be something important. So I'm going to go into the Lightning Parts Center. So immediately presented with this kind of shop that has the same aesthetic as the dungeons we were in. This like earthy, dark, like kind of broken down mechanical stuff. There's like a air vent going nowhere on the right side, a gate with like some mysterious looking machines behind it, and a straight up what looks like a Reaverbot shell or something, which is kind of cool. So I'm gonna talk to this lady who's like immediately in front of you when you open up, and she just starts talking about like Mega Man asks for parts of the ship, and she's like, "Sorry, but my husband's out on a dig right now." Oh wow, connection, probably that guy we just saw. And she kind of gives some exposition as to what a dig is, you know, talking about a bit of the backstory of this game. We're supposed to already know because we are a quote-unquote digger, which is like the term they use for these treasure hunters who look for old things in these ruins. So I guess these two are supposed to be diggers. But yeah, so she's saying like, "Wow, I wonder what's taking him so long. Hey, little blue boy." Specifically, she calls us little blue boy. I guess no one remarks that Mega Man's outfit is kind of weird. I think in this game, Mega Man is actually supposed to be human. He just has this robot-looking like suit. but whatever. So she asked if we'll go save him, and of course we will, because it's a video game. Oh, thank you so much. You'll probably find him somewhere near the entrance of that place we just saw. He's really just a big coward, you see. So I don't think he's gone too far in. Yeah, thanks, lady. That's really nice words about your bow. Wow, I can't believe I just said that. Anyways, so I'm gonna go back down. Also, another thing I just noticed, I probably should have pointed out this before, but Mega Man's footstep sound is so silly. Like, it sounds like suction cups or something. I don't even know what to describe it, but it has a character all of its own. A lot of character in this kind of stuff. As we get out, we see that Data is just dancing near the entrance. I'm going to talk to him. I just saw an older man go inside those ruins over there. I wonder if he'll be all right. Okay, I gotta say, I love the video game NPC writing of "I wonder if" and then thing you're supposed to check out. I know it's not that advanced or whatever, but it's almost so cliche to be endearing at this point. I guess I just have a nostalgia for that. Back when a time when I guess I was even smart enough to realize what was going on without being pandered to like this. But back when video game designers thought that we had to kind of spell it out for you like this. There's something fun and it was friendly about it. So, Data's I wonder if we'll be alright. If you went to go check on him, you should probably save first. If you want to save, just talk to me, okay? Yeah, so I know this. So I'm just going to save. Just for fun, I'm going to check the additional stuff that Data can say to us. I think it'll probably be the same as before, which is what are buster parts, which is, again, the things that you use to upgrade your primary weapon gun thing. I talked about that in the last video, or cast, whatever it is. Yeah, so it's the same stuff. Buster parts and saving, and what should I do? So let's go into this dungeon. The guy's not here, but we can just enter the door, and again, we go underground. So different kind of fade transition between the scene, which is good whenever you're going underground and going up. It's this dark creeping shadow that goes from the bottom and the top and into the center of the screen. Cool stuff. And very different from a different kind of effect. Shows that even transitions between scenes can have important stuff. So as soon as you get in, there's just text boxes that start showing up. Man's voice, help me. Oh my gosh. So yeah, you figure you should go, and oh yeah, there's that sound. So I've got some of these guys. Presents you with an interesting first combat scenario. We got one of the easy enemies kind of far away, so out of your range. But also you're out of their range of danger. But there's also one immediately on a ledge above you, so it challenges you to both remember to use the lock on and the basic movement and stuff that you can do. You also see towards the end of after you make this first turn, fight off those first enemies, there's a ledge you can't really get up because you don't have the big jump yet. There's another enemy on top there. Don't really have to worry about him because you can't. And the text box keeps coming up. Man's voice, help me, help me. Good way to keep going. As soon as you step over, you see a big hole in the wall. You kind of walk towards it intriguingly, and all of a sudden, boom, another enemy speeds out in front of you. So it seems like these base versions of the enemies can do the very fast surprise ambush movement that I was talking about before. Which is cool stuff. We are still facing these easy enemies, but they're throwing them in new situations and kind of giving them a bit more stuff to do. Man's voice, oh my! These text boxes are kind of funny. They keep popping up. I think they get more and more intense and silly as you go on. So you see a big hole in the wall at the end of this first hallway. So I go up to it and check it because it's weird because it's still the same color and stuff as. Or it's not too different, but at the same time, just the pure blackness and the weirdness of the shape on that corner, it does make it stand out. So you read it, there's a hole in the wall. Is there anything inside? You found a refractor shard. So you'll see that, like I said, there's trash cans and boxes and stuff where you find actual important things. You'll talk about money and the different items that you use to create new weapons. The same thing is true in dungeons. You find holes in walls, so it's not just treasure chests, but actually holes that you need to look for because they're a bit harder to find than those obnoxious orange chests. So I go around another corner, and oh man, another enemy from above. So I'm going to take this guy out. He almost hit me with a bomb. That was pretty good. So I'm just going to go over, sneak across the corner, shoot at him, get out of the way of his bombs. Good old use of just these almost plain geometries of straight hallways and right corners, but it works. Man's voice, yikes. Another interesting thing about this game is whenever you're examining something, the game doesn't actually pause. So if I tried to look in that hole while an enemy was still there, they could knock me out of the examine dialogue, which is something that happened to me on my last playthrough that I first noticed, and it could have happened to me there if I didn't take out this enemy. It was some great. We get an incline. I'm going down a slope now for the first time, which is good. There's some enemies on the bottom, so I kind of have an advantage because it's hard for them to shoot up with their bombs, just kind of stop halfway up. But they threw two at me at the same time, along with the kind of faster crawly worm enemy. Just slowly introducing these new scenarios, kind of basic level design, combat design stuff. But it's still effective. And then as I got to the bottom, I turn a corner and I see the shop owner guy, the guy that we were talking about before, who's in a red apron and sandals, and he's surrounded by these tiny little worm enemies. I don't know what he's that worried about. I mean, they move kind of fast, but they don't look too intimidating. They just kind of look like rusted pipes that learned how to move. The funny thing is his in peril animation that just repeats over and over and over again. He looks like he's kind of doing a little jig. His feet are moving up and down, pip 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 pip, as he's turning from side to side with his head, just shaking. Oh my gosh, what's going on? But he's at the top of a ledge. Stay safe for now. So I'm gonna jump up, climb up, and talk to him, and move to mini little cutscene. The camera shifts. I think I was talking about before, when the camera zooms into certain characters. Another way the game uses its camera and text box dialogue system, without voice acting, even to emphasize more important narrative moments, just to straight up change what the camera is doing. So zooming in, straight up cutting to a different camera angle like this one. It's all simple but effective stuff. So we're cutting from behind his perspective, kind of seeing him look at us, the shopkeeper guy, saying, "Thanks, you saved my life. Woo. Thank you, Mr. Blue Boy." Everyone calls me Blue Boy. "Come by my junk shop. I'll give you something as a token of my appreciation." Typical video game good stuff. He says, "I have enough of this place, I'm going home." And then he, "Don't worry about me, quote unquote, I am a fast runner, I'll make it out okay. See you later." So I guess once I clear all the enemies, he thinks it's safe enough and he goes. And he does, he runs. There's even little dust clouds that come up behind him. So I could go up and chase after him, just to continue with the story. But, like I said, this game kind of tries to get you to do more. And as I come down from the stage where this guy was, there's a door to my immediate right. And I'm kind of curious, so I'm just going to go through it. Opens up, and there's a whole nother area of this dungeon. We are introduced to a new enemy that shields and walks towards you and then blows up. Again, not too difficult, but there's 6 of them, so kind of we get some danger in numbers, and they I just ran in front of one to trigger it to blow up, and the explosion it caused hurt another one of them and defeated the last 2, which is kind of cool. So I just entered a really tight corridor, and this kind of presents the first, I would call, interesting and challenging combat section, at least in this part of the game, where I can't just immediately destroy these guys. We're in a dark and small and twisted corridor, and we face off against those basic enemies to throw bombs. But the thing is, lobbing bombs in a really tight space is it's difficult to deal with initially. So we're kind of learning that certain enemies can be more dangerous in certain situations, and how to deal with that is, kind of have a different approach. So I had to do what I was talking about before, the corner, pop in, pop out, try not to get hit by these bombs, and you can't just aggro it like you usually do. Another interesting thing I just realized, so as you get out of this tiny cramped corridor, we're introduced to a totally new enemy, something way more intimidating looking than the stuff we've seen before. So there's this bipedal robot. I'm hiding in a corner right now inside the tunnel that he can't get into because it's too small, so he keeps just walking into the wall and just popping back. It's kind of funny. But these guys, they run at you and they shoot at you. two separate behaviors, both super offensive. This is like the first guy that presents any real danger besides that boss we saw. Again, this is optional, I'm pretty sure right now. So it's kind of like if you are willing to accept the challenge, the game will press you on it. And you know, like this guy is like twice as big as any guy we've seen before. It's very obvious. Like, there's supposed to be a new challenge. Oh, he just hit me. Oops, with his fireball. Also, the fireballs, even though they're just 2D sprites, they have this awesome like deep red color that and they kind of like spin and like drilling kind of animation. Pretty cool looking stuff. Anyway, something I just realized though that I think is brilliant is as straight out of this little tunnel thing that I'm in, you see a little spinning guy that has the same kind of head as the bipedal shooting robot that's trying to walk into this tunnel that we're in. And it's just spinning, and it has like a little radio antenna looking thing, and just sitting on the ground, not doing anything. So it's kind of curious. So, you know, if I didn't know better, I would like go after the bipedal guy, but I'm curious to see why this like little guy is here. So I'm just gonna shoot at it, you know, because it's the first thing I see, and if I shoot at it, it deals damage. Interesting. So if the thing I find out if I go for this guy, the guy who's sitting on the ground is once I destroy it, which I should be doing soon. The robot it's quote unquote attached to, like the thing it was radio signaling, something that you see because they both flash yellow at certain points, the little eye on their tiny head, is once I destroy it, the bipedal robot just stops working. It stands still, and its head just starts rotating super fast, like it doesn't know what to do. Which is it was a cool little thing. Like I don't think this enemy really needed to have a easy to destroy kind of thing, because you know most of these enemies are easy enough anyway. So there's a second one that kind of comes after you if you go into the first room. But again, like I go into this other room and there's that antenna thing just sitting there, so I destroy it, and that guy goes down. So now I'm just free to shoot at these guys all I want, and they do have a decent amount of health. That would have been hard to take them on, especially because they are so threatening. At least comparatively, right now. We'll be facing some more threatening enemies later on, but you know, as a kind of first challenge, it's cool. I know it can be a bit more critical than that. I think what I'm saying is it's probably a good decision to give an enemy like that kind of weakness. Not because they're particularly difficult in the grand scheme of things, but because they are the first more difficult enemy we see. Giving them that weakness kind of, one, shows players that things are not always as they seem, and to explore beyond the boundaries more often, as we are right now, because we're in a totally optional, didn't need to do this for any story reason, part of this dungeon. But also, you know, we're introduced to a more difficult enemy and kind of the stuff that we might be seeing later on, but they have a weakness, you know, that we can exploit, so we can feel comfortable taking them on now, you know, without feeling overwhelmed. But at the same time, just start to ease ourselves into this idea that, hey, maybe things will become more dangerous later on. As I talked about before, the dungeon themes are excellent. So there's a treasure chest at the end of this little section that gives us another buster part called Rapid Fire, which I'm pretty sure I would guess increases our rate of fire. You know, again, an optional thing, but a nice little reward that has gameplay ramifications for checking out this extra part. This game, I think part of the reason like this game gets to me so much is you know, it does have that gotta catch them all feel, except, you know, it's not gotta catch them all like Pokemon, but it's, you know, gotta collect them all, gotta create the perfect Mega Man, gotta keep looking for those upgrades and, you know, getting all that good stuff. yeah, so I'm gonna head back through. Nice ambient theme playing in this. Since this isn't one of the main dungeons, it doesn't actually have a musical theme. It's just ambient noise. But again, like just the drone and the room tone, it sets a really excellent atmosphere. You know, like I said before, the game doesn't have music that often, but it has a lot of ambience, ambient tone, ambient sound to set the atmosphere. Definitely one of the strongest parts of this game. So I just head straight back up. Oh, I just noticed on my way back that there's actually just arrows on the ground of this dungeon that tell you which way to go. Uh, but I guess I wouldn't say it's ham-fisted. I didn't even notice it before. Maybe it was subconscious because they just look like the wall tiles. They've got these ancient-looking geometric patterns, but I just realized that they all point in the direction that you're supposed to go. That's kind of cool. I should point out that the textures in this game, I think another thing that's effective about them, even though they are so lo-fi and very pixelated almost, is the because of the effective use of color and contrast, I can even tell what kind of material these textures are supposed to be. So it's not just like color and pattern, but there's a physical sense of the space conveyed through it. Like these wall textures in this first dungeon, like they have these like the different shades of like brown and kind of these like apparent bumps that I can see through the shading and the pixels and stuff. But in the middle is just this like maroon and yellow pattern of like X's and almost what looks like a jewel in the middle. So like X's and diamond pattern that looks very metallic. I can almost imagine that these are two separate materials that are kind of creating this wall structure. You got the stone with a metal slab over it, and the slab has a certain design. Maybe it's structural, architecturally important. Maybe it's just for decoration. Either way, I don't know, but I kind of like to think about it. Also got a bunch of like triangular patterns of like circles and triangle structures. On these ledges. Which makes me think of something. There's kind of a sense of verticality and movement and emphasis on the movement up. There is a like secret path on the top of this ledge that I'm looking at right now. So maybe it is trying to subconsciously say like, hey, when you get the ability, go back and maybe try doing that up thing. Otherwise it may evoke some other like mythical imagery. Not to make another Zelda comparison, but it's kind of hard not to. So there's another door at the entrance of this dungeon that I'm going to go through right now. I'm pretty sure there's not much I can do. It actually technically brings you to another dungeon. Like, what I mean by that is like when you go through the door, it plays a cutscene and a loading screen, as opposed to just going through the door before without loading, which is going to reload all the enemies in the other side of the dungeon when I go through it. Sometimes that can be annoying. Sometimes that could be good for like farming Zenny and stuff. And it just opens this up into this rectangular room with a big wall that's like very cracked and it's almost like a gold color. Probably gonna be important later on, as we'll find items to create new sub-weapons that can destroy certain kinds of walls. A cool little detail about this game, I guess I'll spoil it now because I've talked for really long and I'm not sure if anyone's going to be listening at this point, is that all of the dungeons in this game, besides the first and the last one, I'm pretty sure, are connected. So this entire island has this subterranean tunnel system connecting all of these like ancient civilization ruins that by the time you reach the end of the game, you can totally open up. It's a cool detail. It's almost like Metroidvania-esque, and conveys a sense of progression in the way you just unlock space, which is quite poetic and a thing that I think games. One of those things that games can do that other media can't. Not necessarily that's like a good or a bad thing, but something to ruminate on. Yeah, so I come into this room that has a door on another level, so I know I can't get up there until I get jump upgrade, but there's one of these like bipedal shooty guys. Their antenna thing is on that second floor, so I can't actually get to it. But I can take out this guy just by circle strafing him because I'm decent at this game. He drops a decent amount of money, at least for this stage of the game. So I guess it was worth it to explore that a bit, fill in my map a bit more, and get out. Yeah, so let's just head back up. So go back up to the surface, place that dungeon fade animation again, and let's go to that junk shop. So as I walk out, I noticed that Data's in a different spot, and also Roll's hanging out around here. So let's talk to Roll. She says, "Hey, look at this," referring to the van I was talking about before, the rusty brown one. It looks like a spotter's car. Excuse me. Okay, so we're throwing some lingo in here. I wonder if it would run if we fixed it up. So spotter being like if a digger is what we call like the treasure hunters here, and that's like that's what Mega Man is. The spotter is the person who does the radioing in and kind of plays as the support role. So that's what role would be, and saying like, oh, there's a spotter's car. So I guess that's like what our base of operations would be. Wonder if we could fix it up. Probably means that we will fix it up later on. Anyway, so Data's hanging out. I'm going to talk to her, and she says, I hear you helped out the junk store owner. He says he wants to thank you, so you should stop by his store later. There's that, so there's the I wonder and the I think you should. Anyways, I'm going to have her recharge my energy, even though I'm pretty sure my life gauge was pretty charged already. Save the game again. Not that I'm worried about dying anytime soon, but I do have to say, dying in this game is one of the most frustrating things in a video game I played in a while. And this is kind of like where the game does show its age, and that it boots you right back to the menu screen, and you just have to load up wherever you last saved, and that can be really annoying because there are some parts of the game that are rather difficult, and also separated by a decent amount of texts and cutscenes. So if you die, it's not the easiest. I'm gonna go over and talk to these serve bots again and see if anything is happening. And they're worried about the popo, saying that the police will see us. And this guy just keeps saying, "Wonder restaurant." It's kind of unfortunate. I guess the police already saw you guys, but you don't really know that. Anyways, I'm gonna go inside and talk to the junk store owner, and they can give us kind of the lowdown, and that'll probably be a good stopping point for the day, because we're gonna get into some more exciting stuff later. But yeah, so I go into the lightning parts store, and there's the happy shop lady there, in her apron and orange suit. Hey, they both have aprons. I guess I never made that connection. That's kind of cute. So I'm gonna talk to the junk store guy. He says, "Oh, you came back." And that's it. It just says, "Oh, you came back." I guess it shows who's really important in this relationship, and that's the lady, the junk store lady. So I talked to her. He says, "Oh, thank you so much. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't gone looking for him. Junk store man. Ha 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 ha. Thanks for helping me out back there. Here, take this as a reward." And it says you got mine parts kit. So as I was talking about before with the items thing, this is kind of the first special weapon, full set special weapon items you get. So there are specific items that you can find that don't do anything on their own, but if you bring them to Roll after we unlock the quote-unquote support car that we were just talking about, she can synthesize new weapons and parts for your buster that give you different kinds of attacks or projectiles. Like I said before, there's an item that lets you break walls to go to new parts of the game, and otherwise, just give you more tools to play with and get through the game more easily with, especially when it comes to the boss fights, because some of those boss fights do kind of favor different kinds of weapons. So we got the mine parts kit, which will let us create the first special weapon that we can create in the game. And Junk Store Man that says, "Do you see the old beat up car outside the city walls?" And he's going to just say, "That's the car we used as our support car when we were younger." So hey, the junk store owners were a digger and support duo before. Anyways, the joke being, though, that comes on later on is that the junk store guy that we saved wasn't actually the digger. It was his wife who was the digger, and he was the supporter, which probably explains why he was so bad at the ruins. Not a particularly great joke, but it's a funny little detail, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, so they say though that they can't help with the ship. You probably need to look in the ruins though, because there's maybe something that'll help you out there. But they established that this junk store will have other stuff that can help us out, and to check back later. And yeah, so this junk store kind of becomes like the quote-unquote item shop of the game. Gives you items that recover your health, keep enemies away, you know, all that good RPG-ish stuff. And also you can buy some of the more vanilla upgrades here, you know, just items that straight up increase one of the buster parts or buster guns stats, you know, by like X amount of points, whatever. Boring, but you know, still useful. Anyway, so we get to our first dialogue choice that's actually interesting, where they ask us what our name is, so they don't just keep referring to us as a little blue boy. And the two options that we could give are Mega Man or Hippopotamus. Which I'm not doing a very good job selling, but if you do pick Hippopotamus, they will actually, these characters, and I think some other characters in the game, will refer to you as Hippopotamus rather than Mega Man, which I think is kind of funny. Anyway, so I say that my name is Mega Man, and the junk store owner lady says, Mega Man, that's a nice name. So I don't really, that's almost more funny, because, I mean, what kind of name is Mega Man? But whatever, she says, okay, Mega Man, see you again later. Cool. So with that done, I'm gonna head back to roll and save my game, because there's some big stuff coming up ahead. So I'll be excited to talk about that with the third episode. Yeah. So until next time, thanks again for listening, and I am Colin Horgan, and this is SDX Crits.